Namaste everyone. Har Har Mahadev. Now, today we'll be talking about the forecast of July 2026. All right, before we move ahead, if you guys are new to my channel, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you get regular updates. If you would like to have your personal readings from me, you know that there is a link in the description box www.anmolastrology.com under reading and unique reading section. You can book a personal reading for yourself. Under the courses section, you can sign up for online courses. All right, so let's get started with the discussion of July 2026 for each and every ascendant. But first, let's go with explanation. First, I'm going to share the dates, the important dates and the important transits. All right. So the very first transit that we have is that as we enter July 2026, we have Mars in the zodiac sign of Taurus already from 21st of June, and it will be there till 2nd of August 2026. Further, we have Venus that is going to be conjunct Ketu in the zodiac sign of Leo from 4th of July till 1st of August 2026. Further, we have Mercury retrograde, which has already gone retrograde on 29th of June 2026, and it will be entering the sign of Gemini into its retrograde state, will be there till 24th July 2026. It will be retrograde till 24th July 2026. All right. Then we have Sun entering Gemini on 16th of July till the end of the month. Before that, it will be just a second. No, it will be entering Cancer on 16th of July 2026. And before that, it will be in Gemini, conjunct a retrograde Mercury. Further, we also have Saturn going retrograde on 27th of July 2026, and it's retrograde till 11th of December 2026 in the zodiac sign of Pisces. All right, now let's discuss and explain and understand how each of this particular transits are basically going to work for us. So I'll start with the transit of Mars. Now, as we discussed for the month of June as well, that Mars potentially that's where your energy focuses itself for a particular timeline or a particular month. So we usually are very considerate of the planets like Jupiter, Saturn, Rahu, and Ketu because of a very understood logic that they are very, very impactful planets. And their transit, since it comes for a longer time, our purpose has to be fulfilled wherever they are transiting. But if we talk about our daily life, if a focus has to be for a particular month, for particular days, then we do have to see the transits of the planet that comes for the shorter duration. And Mars is one of the important transits that we must refer because Mars will let us know where the energy flow is present, where our energy would be required, where our attention would be needed for a particular number of days. So in June, Mars was in Aries and its inclination was towards bringing in action, doing things which were stuck since a long time. Now it's about that there has been a push to the car, but now the car wants to come at a static speed. Like, just for an example, the other day, I was discussing with my husband that how on a highway road he went on the cruise mode of the car. And literally, that is coming into my mind, the cruise mode of a car, where you just set a speed and your vehicle is going to be consistent in that speed. So when you plan for something long term, like you are trying to go on a long journey, you know that this road is empty, this road is going to be a long single road, you're going to be consistent at your speed. So that's the reason you operate on the cruise mode. And that is very similar to what placement we have as Mars in Taurus. So Mars in Taurus in a crux, now you did start certain things. Now you have to stabilize and statically make that movement play. Things were initiated, things were started. Now it needs to ground itself before it comes into changes when it will go into Gemini. So, right now, as we enter the month of July 2026, the energy is going to go into stabilizing oneself, into securing oneself, and indeed working towards our lifestyles, working towards our traditions, working towards our finances, and budgeting investments. So whenever Mars comes into the zodiac sign of Taurus, it's a very, very practical, yet initiative, leadership placement to have. Here, your energy becomes very rational. It's not haywired, it's not impulsive, it's well thought, well analyzed, and it works on a certain goal. Taurus is the zodiac sign that naturally rules the second house, and the symbol is basically the bull, right? How a bull pursues its target, right? And how aggressively it pursues. But it's not something impulsive. It's not something sudden. It's well planned. That's the kind of energy we are going to see with Mars in the zodiac sign of Taurus. So, Taurus represents the assets, the possessions, the relationship with the family, the kind of lifestyle we develop for ourselves, the kind of money we earn, and the kind of money we invest, like we accumulate. Either we are doing it in the form of jewelry, we are doing it in the form of mutual funds, we are doing it in the form of, buying home, assets, anything. And most importantly, this is one of the zodiac signs of our nutrition, our well being. And it is one of the Marka Sthan as well. So your energy comes here to finish the task and get on to another task. How do you finish it? You complete it basically. So that's what Mars will focus us, but definitely the major focus has to be towards securing ourselves, emotion wise, physical wise, stability wise, and future security wise. All right. But one thing is there. When Mars comes into the zodiac sign of Taurus, since it's a Venusian sign and Mars comes here, we get attracted or we get motivated to do certain things or follow certain habits also. Now, it is very much dependent on how your Taurus zodiac sign is placed, in which house Taurus is placed, how already planets are placed there, because that will decide that whether you are aggressively pursuing bad habits or you are aggressively pursuing good habits. Because ultimately, it is all about the second house matters. It is all about to enjoy, because this is one of the Rajasic signs as well. It is pleasurable sign because of the presence of Venusian energy. And indeed, it's a very passionate energy as well. Along with this, Mars coming into a Venusian sign can also make you have, increased lust. Now, this lust is not just for sex, pleasure, but it's lust for the money, lust for any sort of materialistic aspect that we see. And sometimes this can even lead to greed. So, the whole month of July, with the perspective of Mars, is going to be concerned on finances, financial growth, management of finances, but it would also afflict the communication of an individual. Everyone will try to dominate their relationships, their association within relationships, and also with their speech, with their opinions, because it's not coming into Gemini currently. It's not about that the communication is being aggressive or communication is being like something which is being imposed on you. It's the way the communication is coming out. It's not what you are communicating about. All right. So that's Mars for July 2026. Further, we are going to have, and one more thing with Mars, I always say that if Mars transits eighth from any particular sign or fourth from any particular sign, it is going to affect negatively to those zodiac signs. So, fourth, it is basically coming forth from Aquarius, and eighth from, just a second, eighth from Libra. So for Libras and Aquarius, if you have your Mars in Libra or in Aquarius, your natal Mars, or if you have your natal moon or natal ascendant, Lagna in Libra or Aquarius, then this Mars can actually be complicated for you, and it can make you go through sudden ups and downs of life, which can be ultimately frustrating. All right. Now coming to the next aspect, which is Venus being conjunct Ketu on 4th of July till 1st of August. So I would say for the first 10 days, the impact is going to be much because Ketu is in the early degrees of the zodiac sign of Leo. And while Venus enters, it will first get very closely conjunct with Ketu in Leo, and then further start moving away from Ketu in the zodiac sign of Leo and towards Virgo. Right? So first 10 days of the month of July can be very, 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 very complicated when it comes to love and relationships. And since at the same time we also have Mars in Taurus, I see that there can be a lot of fights, a lot of aggression that we can experience in our relationships. Especially if your natal Venus is already in Leo, your natal moon is in Leo, then it can be more complicated for you. If your natal ascendant is Leo, then also it's very complicated. If your natal Mars is in Leo, then also it's very complicated for specifically your relationships. So it's a very aggressive kind of combination that we have. And because of the fact that Mars from Taurus will be aspecting with its fourth aspect over Venus, or you can say over the zodiac sign of Leo, where Venus and Ketu both are placed. So it's a very frustrating aggression that is coming out. So be very careful for the first 10 days of July, the month of July, because it can be very super reactive when it comes to relationships. But at the same time, this is giving us major lessons upon how we establish our connections or how we basically move ahead with our connections. The over analytical nature, the over picky nature is going to be the complicated situation or going to be the catalyst of this complication. So that needs to address. But along with that, within these 10 days, the complication that is attaching to relationships, that is basically us fulfilling the karma from our past life in terms of our relationships. So, watch your communication, watch your reactions, because things can feel overburdening, things can feel over, like you yourself can analyze things way too much, way too deeper. And that can turn out into frustration and that can turn out into aggressive reactions. So that needs to be taken care of. Other than that, it is actually a good combination when it comes to dealing with things are related to details. So, like for example, if you are renovating your house, or if you are trying to buy something like buying a car, buying a jewelry, you'll be very critically cautious of how you are doing so. You'll not miss any sort of details. That how detail oriented a person becomes here when it comes to the matter of luxury, when it comes to the matter of expenditure, right? So there it is actually going to act quite beneficial, but watch your words, watch your reaction within your career space and within your personal life as well, because Venus and Ketu, when conjoined together, can produce you fulfilling karma through your relationships at that point of time. So July indeed is very karmic for the relationships. There can be talks of the past things, past romances. They can be also repenting upon the past, bringing in past in the present, right? All these things can also be there. And along with that, I do see there's going to be at the same time a belongingness that a person would have within their heart. Because, Venus, when comes into the zodiac sign of Leo, a person does wants to experience pleasure, romance, and express themselves in a very creative manner. When Ketu attaches itself to this Venus in Leo, it makes others question you or criticize you on the way your expression is coming out. So that could be one of the situations we can see will be happening. So that's why a person, cries from within. That's why they transform when it comes to love and love matters. And especially this will be impactful for the individuals who have their natal Venus, their natal Mars, their natal moon, or maybe their natal seventh lord in the zodiac sign of Leo. So some past issues are to be addressed during the month of July. And that would also lead you towards spirituality. So we can experience major transformation when it comes to our connections and how we connect with others. Now, next is Mercury retrograde. I have made a full-fledged video on Mercury retrograde in the Cancer sign and in the Gemini sign as well, right? So you can refer to that video. I will attach the link below, right? So you can refer to that video for the details. I'm only going to use the conclusion here. So first we have Venus retrograde in Cancer as we enter the month of July. That means we will already be experiencing intense emotions and verbally talking about what's deeper in the heart, what has been not communicated since a very long time. So it's like people are going to acknowledge their emotions, acknowledge their childhood trauma, and even the situation in our surroundings are going to be in a certain way that we are going to be forced to talk about it, talk about the traumas. For some people, it can come out in a very aggressive manner. For some people, it can be like a relief that we are talking and relieving our mind from all that burden that we have carried for years. Along with that, there's going to be a lot of research, a lot of reading of books that everyone would do. Because when Mercury comes into the sign of Cancer, a person becomes very curious. They become curious about learning everything that is happening in the lives of the people they love and everything that they get to know. So that's a very curious Mercury. And when it goes retrograde, its curiosity comes to the highest level, right? But this Mercury can give us miscommunications and misinterpretations of our emotions. Because this Mercury will be conjunct Jupiter. And Jupiter and Mercury have a biggest history, in the mythological world. And because of that, they produce misunderstanding or misinterpretations. So try to be clear with your words, not aggressive, not blunt, but clear with what message you want to get forward, right? And again, since it is Mercury going retrograde in Cancer, it's about reanalyzing the past emotions, reanalyzing the past with with every relationship, with every situation where your emotions were attached. So a lot of flashbacks of the past we'll be experiencing in July 2026. And this Mercury retrograde would definitely initiate changes. When it is retrograde in Mercury, it would initiate the very first point of change. And the actual change is going to happen when Mercury goes retrograde in the zodiac sign of Gemini. It's like recorrecting your past actions. So from 7th of July till 24th of July, while Mercury will be retrograde in Gemini, there is redoing of things, recommunicating of things, reconsidering jobs, reconsidering past opportunities, reworking with technologies. And this is the time when we can experience technological glitches because it's influencing the third house. But it's also one of the important placements which will make us acknowledge our fears, especially the fears attached to the past, which are being visible in the present as well. So that's the kind of dealing we have to see with both the transits of Mercury in Cancer first and then in Gemini. They can be, recorrectional. I would say recorrection is the right word for this whole transit of Mercury in Gemini. Then we have Sun in Gemini first, and then post 16th of July, Sun will be in Cancer. So the importance of the transit of planet Sun is that this particular, just a second. Yeah, the importance of the transit of the planet Sun is that Sun, wherever it transits, it illuminates that house. You get support from that house. See how a politician is made or how a king is made from the votes of the citizens, from the support of the citizens. And that is what happens with the placement of Sun. So I'm just trying to bring new points every month for every transit because I know one planet can signify hundreds of things. So sun is the light. Sun is the aggressiveness. Sun is the domination as well. But with the perspective of what else we are coming with, sun would definitely represent the support. Sun would definitely represent where you are taking the energy from. In the day, how do we produce light? From the sun. So sun is one of the reasons of our existence. Imagine the life without sun. There will not be night, there will not be day. Because even during the night, the light comes from the reflection of sun upon the moon. So that's important sun is. So it's like something comes into life. Something comes out to give us that help and support with wherever sun transits. So till the time sun is in Gemini, it's about the effort. It's about the communication. It's about the skills. It's about making things work. When it comes into the zodiac sign of Cancer, it's one of the typical placements a person would have, and you can check this with people who already have Sun as a natal placement in Cancer. Sun loses its power in the zodiac sign of Cancer because of the reason that Sun is the fireball and Cancer is the water. Sun loses its fire and now it has to deal with the deeper emotions. It has to deal with adjustments. The sun is in Cancer is like that we have to go through the burning of one's soul because this is the soul significator. We have to burn once in Gemini, sun initiated the effort, sun initiated the action. When it comes to Cancer, it needs to slow down. It needs to stabilize itself in the most complicated and chaotic situations. Now, this sun can no longer reflect with its ego. Rather, it has to reflect with its dependability, especially the emotional dependability. So, your emotional intelligence becomes active, but at the same time, there are a lot of fights that we have to deal with in regards of emotions or in regards of our house, our home environment. So sun in Cancer makes you deal with the acknowledgement of one's emotions. So I think July is a very, very intense month when it comes to our inner self, our inner healing. Because sun in Cancer actually also initiates healing. Because here, sun is not losing its fire because of a negative zodiac sign. It's losing its fire because that's what is needed in the moment. That's what is needed to establish a strong foundation. So, something is coming into my mind, and that is that when a child, like this mostly happens in Indian societies, like a father is always the dependable one. Its mothers also are. But as you know, as a daughter, even I can say that, even many of the daughters can say, many of the sons can say that we do depend internally upon the protection of our fathers. And it's like we do sometimes make certain decisions we know that our father wouldn't like. But there comes a saturation point when our father just breaks down in front of us and prefers our emotions over anything else, over their ethics, over their principles. That is what we are going to experience for July 2026. We shall adjust or sacrifice our principles in order to bring in happiness. So there will be compromises on the set of emotions to bring in happiness, to bring in adjustments. All right. Now, lastly, we have Saturn retrograde on 27th of July. So I am still I will be posting about Saturn retrograde very soon, but I haven't posted till now. I will give the proper details in that particular video, but let's just talk a little bit about what this Saturn is going to do. So the clarity with the concept of retrogression, I suppose everyone has, but let me repeat that. Whenever a planet goes retrograde, it reverses its motion and comes closer to the Earth. So the effects are more visible. It's more impactful placement. So when Saturn goes retrograde into the zodiac sign of Pisces, it's all about us experiencing the harsh reality check of lives. It's like that we can no longer become careless or ignorant of the matters of the zodiac sign of Pisces or in whatever house that sign of Pisces falls. Another thing is that it is also going to affect the previous sign, which is Aquarius. So the crux of the meaning or the conclusion of the meaning of Saturn going retrograde in Pisces is that in order to fulfill your desires, in order to be recognized, we need to clear our subconscious mind. We need to have a clear focus. We need to have a clarity upon what is reality. And why I'm again and again talking about reality, that is not because of Saturn. That is actually because of the zodiac sign of Pisces. Because Pisces is a dreamland. Pisces is an assumptuous land. It's our subconscious mind. It's imaginative. It's storyteller. It's story builder. It's creative. So when Saturn comes there, it makes us realize first thing that how we need to trust our intuition, how important it is to trust one's intuition. Secondly, that how important it is to get a reality check and to be cautious with your decisions and with your actions. Because it's the 12th house, it's the subconscious mind. It gives the signal to our conscious mind to react or to act. And if your subconscious is not correct, it's not giving you the right signal, your action would eventually go bad. Your action would eventually not be healthy. So when Saturn is going retrograde, we are going to be very overly cautious about our decisions and what we believe in. It's like rechecking the points that we have had in our subconscious so as to get recognized, so as to get, our desires fulfilled, and so as to exist or survive into this world, because that's all what the 11th house is about. We need to sacrifice. We need to sacrifice oblivionness. We need to sacrifice addictions. We need to sacrifice ignorant behavior. All right. So with Saturn retrograde, we have to rethink about travel options. Some people will have to re-travel. Some people have to go back. Some from to their natal place, then come back again. So there are repetitive travels that we are going to see. There are repetitively reconsiderations of legal matters with foreign lands. There is redoing of things in regards of your efforts towards your career as well, because the 12th house is third from the 10th house originally. All right. So that was my explanation about all the planetary transit for July 2026. Now let's talk about each and every zodiac sign. Now, just as a reminder, please refer to the ascendant zodiac sign first and then the moon zodiac sign, as in the Rashi. Both are going to be equivalent or equally important, but please, priority wise, go for the ascendant first and then go for the moon. All right. So now let's start with the zodiac sign of Aries. So for Aries ascendant or Aries moon, Mars is transiting your second house. The lord of the second house, Venus, is in the fifth house, conjunct Ketu. Sun is traveling between your third house and your fourth house. Mercury is retrograde with Jupiter in the fourth house and then the third house. So, collectively, for the month of July, I think the focus is going to be on rectification of your financial decisions and also reconsidering some past choices with your family unions and with your finances. So, since it's Mars in the second house, you're trying to get better with the finances, with the lifestyle, and with your relationship with the others as well. But at the same time, I do see a kind of bluntness, a kind of straightforwardness that is also coming here. And it's also about being very firm with your decisions and with especially your household decisions. It's like this is a month which is very, very significant for your future growth. It's like you're taking charge of your household decisions, your financial decisions by by also setting a sense of, stop on the compromise. Like it's like that there are going to be certain decisions that you are going to take as a person, like being harsh on others, because that's what is required in the moment. And when Mars comes into any house, you have to provide that house. So there will be provision towards the family, provision towards the financial growth. And for that, you have to take tough choices. That's what it basically shows. And apart from this, this also shows that you will at the same time have to deal with the past trauma, like not in an emotional sense, but in a credible sense. That so as to being able to set an importance of your decision, you have to consider what has happened in the past, something like that. And there are changes that will be involved in the part of your home, your emotions, your communications, and even job structure. For the ones who are into studies or who are into education, actually, the second lord going into the fifth house with Ketu can make you, like, for example, if you are to give a government exam, right? Or a competitive exam. This is actually a very, very good position to have. With Mars in the second house, Venus and Ketu in the fifth house, it's like your mind is becoming very sharp. But just be a little careful with your past connections and your existing connections, because they can be hindered because of something of the past, like a past argument can come about, right? But it's a very transitioning time upon your, not about the transitioning time of yourself, but your actions instead. And definitely you are going on a holiday. That's also there. There's a constant back and forth travel that I can see for Aries individuals. Now let's talk about the Taurus ascendant or Taurus moon sign. So Mars is coming into your ascendant. You have gotten all the energy in yourself and you just want to, be the leader. See, Mars is actually the follower. It's not the leader, but at certain houses, it becomes the leader. Remember that. And I won't say it's completely a follower as well, but Mars is very good at taking orders. If you'll tell a Martian person that this needs to be done first like this, then like this, if you tell them the steps, they are going to take the oath of walking on that steps. They'll not use their own brain, or they won't use their own ideas of how they can do it quickly, how they can do it efficiently. No, what you said, they are going to do it like that. That is the energy Mars is bringing in the first house. But when it comes to communication and relationships, you are going to be very, be sitting on a hot stove for the month of July. You will take in charge of your health. You'll try to improvise your health. You'll try to be very protective of your assets as well. You'll try to be very protective of what you own and what your possessions are. At the same time, you have Venus and Ketu in the fifth house. So definitely there's something very karmic that you're going to deal with when it comes to your mother, or when it comes to your peace of mind, when it comes to your home environment. July is a month when home can feel, you know, a place where you just want to exit for some time, because a lot of criticism would come from the home. Your Even your selfless devotion would be required within the home. Because see, we don't have alone Venus here. Venus represents devotion. Venus represents balance. But when it conjuncts Ketu, it makes it difficult to happen. So you become very And that too in a fixed sign, you become non-adjustable. This is a month you are not welcoming yourself to be adjusting in anything. So that's a dominant side of you which is coming out in the month of July. Then Sun and Mercury will be traveling between the second house and the third house, which talks for finances, communications, creative skills, travel. So there can, in fact, be travel or moving away from the home. But I think with small transits, we cannot see a permanent shift until unless it is backed up by the longer transits. And of course, the dasha as well. But the whole pattern sets from your first house till your fourth house. So changes in the dynamics of your family, in your communication, the way you interact with the mother, with the home space. And it's like you're trying to get comforted within the home, but you have to move out. Still, there's a urge to, push yourself out. All right. So that's the kind of thing we can expect for July 2026 for Taurus individuals. Now let's come to Gemini. Gemini ascendant or moon sign. Mars is in your 12th house. So whenever Mars is in the 12th house, your energy is being executed on wasteful thoughts and wasteful things. That's why it's in the 12th house. It's like you keep the fireball of Mars and you throw it in ocean. It's gone. And that Mars, that fireball will feel that everything just got out of me. Whole of my power is out. That's why it's a very frustrating position. But trust me, when Mars comes into the 12th house, or if a person has it in the 12th house, those people I've seen the most beautiful people, like beautiful from the heart. With Mars in the 12th house, you accumulate so much of emotion out of sacrifice. Because the fourth aspect of Mars goes into the third house. Because now your efforts, your actions uh, do not become selfish. It's like they are getting restricted. And in your subconscious, you always think the best for the people you love. That's why you compromise, you suppress your emotions. But the thing is, we have this transit for a small duration in the transit only. For the month of July, you will be accumulating a lot of emotions, but it will come out in reaction once sun comes into your ascendant. Actually, it is going to be in the ascendant in the beginning. And then it'll go into the second house with Jupiter and a retrograde Mercury. Actually, Mercury will actually move before. Okay, sorry. So it is going to come out in communication, definitely, right? But this Mars, where it does very well is it makes you always occupied and thinking of something. So your mind is working 24/7. So I've seen many people that they drive a lot when Mars transits the 12th house. But I think it talks more about travel for you and more about you accumulating a lot of emotions at the same time. But try to differentiate and do not turn it into anger. Because then we have Venus Ketu in the third house as well, in Leo. That can be super blunt. So I do feel that there can be an online romance to enlighten up for some people who are seeking for dating and romance. For others, it can be a very, very super creative and research endeavor that you are going to, opt for and you're going to do maybe in your job, maybe in your business. And for others, it's about being very careful with your interaction over social media. This third house, Venus Ketu, along with Mars in the 12th house, that can bring in rift with someone over social media, an unnecessary rift. And then it also talks about with the 12th house Mars, definitely you are going to take care of your responsibilities towards your family or towards the people you love. And it could even specifically be about younger sibling. You will have to take care of certain responsibilities and finances for the month of July. All right. Now let's talk about the zodiac sign of Cancer. So for Cancer individuals, Mars is transiting the 11th house, which is a super smart placement to have. Then we have Jupiter in the ascendant, Venus and Ketu in the second house. You know, for Cancerians with Jupiter in the ascendant, Venus, Ketu in the second house, Sun in first Mercury going retrograde in your ascendant, then in the 12th house, then Sun being in the 12th house, then coming into the ascendant. It's like a lot is happening within you and outside you. First, overall, this is the time of growth, the month of July. This is the time of recognition. This is the time you pursue your social circle and you get recognized for your skills. But on the other end, when it comes to personal relationships, the closer ones, that's where the struggle would be because of your communication. You might receive some sort of help or guidance from a female. And this guidance or help is actually going to alter your lineage, issues. And another thing, what I feel is with this Venus and Ketu, and at the same time Jupiter in the ascendant, you are going to learn. You're going to learn a strong wisdom attached to your emotions and to your family. It's like you're detaching yourself from the family, from the idea to be devoted to them without any expectation in return. Now you're becoming practical with your relations, with your decisions. All right. So for Cancer individuals, actually having Venus and Ketu in the second house makes a Lakshmi yoga as well. So either your status is elevating, your finances will be growing, or it can be that you need to help your family somehow with the finances. But you're taking on the responsibilities. You're feeling that I am ready to take on the responsibilities and be the one to be there for everyone. That's the power of Jupiter in the first house. And this Mercury retrogression within your first and your 12th is making you realize a lot of things. Realize and improve a lot of actions, a lot of realizations. All right. Now, next we have the zodiac sign of Leo. So, if you are a Leo ascendant or a Leo moon, sorry, then you have your Mars in the 10th house. It's a very humanitarian time for you. I'm saying it actually collectively, not just with Mars in the 10th house, but you definitely are trying to secure your career. There is something very transformative happening in regards of your career for the month of July. Maybe you're shifting your career. Maybe you are like I know one of the persons with Leo ascendant, and they are closing their business this in the month of July because not because of something bad. It's like they're taking retirement, basically. So definitely a significant transformation, a significant change that is coming in terms of your career, and you're feeling that you need to do something as a part of your responsibility towards either someone or society in general. You will actually be settling down and managing a lot of things for the month of July because of the presence of alone Mars in the 10th house. Because along with Ketu and Venus in the ascendant, or you are trying to be rational. You will differentiate between what are my responsibilities and what I need to done, and I am not going to be influenced by anyone. That's the kind of energy it's bringing in. So although people are trying to, put in words into your head, words into your mind, or but you're not entertaining. You just have understand that this is something that I need to do, I have to do, that's my responsibility, and I will be doing that. All right. So for Leos, since the houses from your 10th to your first are getting affected, you already are in the transitional process. But now it's like you're cutting the unnecessary things out. You're cutting unnecessary work, you're cutting unnecessary people, connecting with new people who can actually add on growth into your life. The certain expenditures definitely out of responsibility you have to bear, and even towards your health. All right. So the expenditure is going to still be there. There's going to be recognition at the same time. There's going to be expenditure. There's going to be travel. So there are multiple things that are happening for Leos. But absolutely one thing is there, that you have your third lord and your 10th lord coming into your ascendant. You are acknowledging your responsibilities and the way your actions must take place based on your past mistakes. And you're going to be cutthroat about it. It's not like because mostly what happens is that Leo people are very considerate of what the other person is thinking of them. Some Leos, I would say. But now your transitional process is there. You'd hardly care because you have understood that life goes on. We are going to come alone. We are going to go alone. So why to be affected so much with what people say about us? How people judge us, right? Now let's talk about Virgos. So Virgo ascendant or Virgo moon. For you, all the houses from your ninth house to your 12th house are getting affected in the month of July. You have Mars in the ninth house. You have to actively pursue something. You have to fight for something, for your right. And you even have to fight for the rights of your father, for the rights of your gurus, or someone you respect, or you consider that this is my guru, this person has taught me. And in fact, you can even have some sense of, different opinions, arguments with your father or your guru. Then you have Sun and retrograde Mercury to be transiting in your 11th house and your 10th house. So there are definitely some, you know, past opportunities that are going to resurface. There are some legalities or legal matters that you have to go through again. And then at the same time, there is some, royal regal expenditure that also you have to make. So overall, this actually is going towards a positive sense, not a negative one. So for Virgos, This is a very spiritual time for you. You have Mars in the ninth, although it's considered as a malefic, but in the ninth, it gives you direction. It holds and settles the whole Kundali, right? So it is throwing its fourth aspect over Venus and Ketu in the 12th house. So I think something related to your surroundings is going to happen that is going to make you feel so frustrated that your actions are going to come out of that frustration, and that is going to transform you spiritually. So month of July is extremely important. Along with that, there is sun transiting between your 10th and 11th house. So all of this would always would also involve your social responsibilities, your connections with the society, your connections with social circle. And then we have retrograde Mercury in your 11th and 10th. So recorrecting your actions towards, the social circle, re-encountering past connections, re-encountering past people. Either that's out of relationship, that's out of friendship, or even as your colleagues. But overall, all of these transits are a part of movement and growth. All right. Now, next we have the zodiac sign of Libra. So Mars is transiting in your eighth house. Your energy will be going into secret matters. Mars in the eighth house, in the zodiac sign of Taurus, is very, very lustful. At the same time, having Venus and Ketu in the 11th house, there can be a very passionate experience with someone of the past. But remember not to repeat your past mistakes. Then we have retrograde Mercury going into your 10th, first being retrograde in your 10th along with Jupiter, then coming into your ninth house. Sun moving from your ninth to the 10th. So, sometimes we encounter certain people from the past because we haven't received the closure. And once we receive that, we get into our senses that it won't work out. That's not ethical. Or this could even be about something else, not relationship, but something else. But definitely, you will have to deal with things that you basically just hid, the emotions that you did not acknowledge. See, your first and eighth lords, Venus, is coming into the 11th house. It can give you sudden, unexpected gains, but at the same time, it can give you sudden experiences from the past and even in the present. All right. But right now, I think it's your mindset, the way you react, the way you take decisions, all of that is transitioning. And this is going to be a catalyst of that transition. All right. And it also means that you might have to take care of your in-laws and you might have to take care of secret wealth. Your secret wealth, your partners, or of someone else. But you will have to manage some secret wealth and eventually the wealth. But this month will have sudden effects of it, right? Everything would happen suddenly. Now, next we have the zodiac sign of Scorpio. So, if you are a Scorpio ascendant or a Scorpio moon, you have Mars in your seventh house. And then we have a retrograde Mercury in your eighth house, along with Sun. Then Jupiter in the ninth house, Mercury will first be retrograde in the ninth house, coming back into the eighth house, and Sun will be joining Jupiter. So your energy is actually going to go for the month of July towards your partner, towards partnership, or even towards relationships. If you are unmarried, not in a relationship, it can actually trigger relationship. Especially, you will have to be a little careful with authoritative women. So this can activate relationship, but that relationship could be with a woman or with a person, if you are a female, who are very authoritative in nature. And basically, there can be power struggles that you're going to experience for July 2026. In your career, also be careful of females. They can unnecessarily, you know, play politics or trying to criticize you, or there's something negative that is coming from there. For this month of July, I do feel that you would receive support from someone, support and guidance from someone as a mentor, or from your father, or from a guru. Okay. But relationships, although they will have your involvement, there's a very passionate encounter, involvement within the relationship. At the same time, there are power struggles, there are complications as well. Because when you're too involved into something with Mars, you also struggle with it because your too much involvement sometimes it acts as a burden, right? And that's the reason of, because when two people are very different, they are individuals on their own, they will always have that arguments or always have their own self opinions. It's not necessary at every time it will match. All right. Now, next we have the zodiac sign of Sagittarius. For Sagittarius individuals, Mars is coming into your sixth house. You're managing your debt, you're managing your health and nutrition. You are going to try to manage your routine. For the month of July, you're going to be totally occupied. And I see a lot of travels also. It's the time you deal with your past issues with your father or guru. There's a lot of frustration that is adding on towards the ninth house. But trust me, with Venus and Ketu in the ninth house, you get to experience spirituality at the same time fulfillment of your desires, as if your fortune is activated. At certain points, you can feel that what is happening with me. But at the same time, you get the unasked Lakshmi, unasked blessings and recognition with Venus and Ketu in the ninth. And with Mars in the sixth, you have actively tried to do certain things for your life. You are trying to manage everything on your own. It's the time to relax and leave it on God. And also with your Jupiter in the eighth house, Mercury first going retrograde there, then going retrograde in your seventh house, you will be recommunicating past issues of the relationships, or you will be recommunicating with someone from the past. You'll be reanalyzing your relationships with your spouse and your in-laws. And when Mercury goes retrograde in the eighth house, it's very, very unpredictable. And you think about every unpredictable event very, very deeply. You definitely have to deal with your internal emotions, internal intense emotions. So see, all the houses from the sixth house to the ninth house are getting affected. You have to deal with the dark side of the world. At the same time, your finances are growing, your work is growing, but at the same time, you're learning so much. You're learning how to evolve with the change. Okay? Now, Capricorns. If you're a Capricorn ascendant or a Capricorn moon, your Mars is transiting the fifth house. Then we have Sun in the sixth house. In the seventh house, you have Jupiter and retrograde Mercury, which will go in the sixth house on 7th of July. Right? Then we have Venus and Ketu in the eighth house. Again, just like I think we discussed about, I think Libras, when you have association of Mars with your fifth house and Venus in the eighth house, and then Ketu also there, you are experiencing heartbreak. And in this heartbreak, it's not just heartbreak, it's also disappointment. The disappointment that comes from your love matters and your relationships, and which is also going to come out as a solid reaction. But definitely, it calls for disappointment, heartbreak, and be careful of the money matters for the month of July. If you are a speculator, if you are a like you gamble money, if you invest your money into shares, if you earn on the basis of, you know, investments and share market or any sort of speculations, be very, very careful. You indeed, for the whole, for this period, you can actually gain a lot, but still do not be greedy about it. So, something related to your own understanding, your own decisions, or your own greediness is going to make you feel disappointed and hurt, whether it's relationship or it's money or anything of that sort. Even your relationships are going to very highly get affected there. Your mind is going to go much into creation and creative research for the month of July. All right. Now let's talk about Aquarius. Aquarius ascendant or moon sign. So for Aquarius individuals, Mars is transiting their fourth house. So Mars in the fourth house is like that your energy is going towards your emotions, your house, your home, your surroundings, your peace of mind. It's a very irritated Mars, to be honest, in the fourth house. You try to dominate the mother, mother tries to dominate you. At the same time, we also have Venus and Ketu in the seventh house. And it also receives the fourth aspect of Mars. In your fifth house, we have Sun and a welcoming retrograde Mercury with Jupiter in the sixth and retrograde Mercury also, in the starting, it will be there. You will have to deal with the issues. And it's like your emotional side is still dealing with the conflicts. You'll have to re-deal with some romantic situation. And for some people, if you are into competitive exams, there can be some mistake. So you might go for re-evaluations. And if you are going to, like, you are even filing for a visa, you are even filing for, what do we say, like a bank account, a loan application, things are going to move very much back and forth. It's like recorrecting the mistakes done in the past. It's like redocumentations. And of course, you also have to take good care of your digestive system. And that's the reason Saturn is going retrograde in your second house as well. You will have to take care of your digestive system and your health specifically. The relationship with a partner is somehow being disappointed. And it's like your partner is becoming very, like, brutally cutthroat. And that's the reason you're struggling with relationships currently. But this is not the best month for your personal relationships. There are changes that will be happening in your home structure. Maybe you're adding on some new materials within your home. You want to get your home renovated, even your cars. I also see you indulging into creative things. All right. So now let's talk about Pisces individual. So for Pisces individual, Mars is transiting the third house. Then we have Sun in the fourth. In the fifth house, we have Jupiter along with retrograde Mercury, which is going to come into the fourth house. And then we have Venus and Ketu in the sixth house. Your devotion has to go towards your career, your routine life, and your nutrition and health. It's like, and of course, also with Venus and Ketu, if your planetary placement suggests, if your Mahadasha is saying so, there can be a minor surgery that can happen because of the digestive system. There's some issues with the digestive system that you have to take care of. At the same time, you have to become very disciplined with your eating patterns, with your eating habits. With Mars in the third house, you have to be very firm with your decisions and firm with your courage as well. So it's a time where you'll have to deal with quite a few changes within your home, within your space, and with your health as well. Your mind is not at peace, definitely. So July can be a struggling month, which would require you to have courage. There can be some female from your relatives or your colleagues that can come out for your help, and there could be a possibility that you have to help them. But in your colleagues, in the environment, and in your relatives also, be very careful with some authoritative female because she might create a fuss or create a problem, complication for you. There can be unnecessary argument, unnecessary obstacles coming your way in the month of July. So be very mindful of your decisions, of your actions. Be very patient because Saturn retrograde makes a person very impatient because things start moving in their surroundings and then they are like, I want everything to happen just now. So try to work it out with patience. All right. So, guys, this was my analysis about the month of July 2026. We'll see you with the next video. Bye bye. Take care.